Good day, collectors and viewers. Social Distance Warrior is back, and today we're going to look at our Cantina Band from the original Star Wars: A New Hope. So, Cantina Band member, most popular one that we know anyway, is Figrin D'an. Now, Figrin D'an made his debut in the original Star Wars movie back in 1977, when our beloved rebels, Luke Skywalker, Ben Kenobi, and almost the droids, they got kicked out at the door, entered the Chalmun's Cantina in Mos Eisley, and Ben Kenobi warned Luke that there wouldn't be a more wretched hive of scum and villainy than this place. And sure enough, they walk in, and to our delight as fans, all those years ago and all these years later, there's all these aliens hanging out inside here, and there's music playing, and they're even playing music that's well, it's not sci-fi, but music that's out of this world. And it's very famous nowadays, the Cantina Band music. And we meet Figrin D'an in the model nodes. So Figrin D'an made his debut in action figure form, not in the original movies. He was in that original Cantina playset that came out to display your figures in the backdrop on cardboard, but never in figure form. And he's an amazing alien. He's very distinct looking. You know immediately that it's the Cantina Band. And we'd have to wait till Star Wars made its return back in the 90s with The Power of the Force 2. And in 1997, we'd get Figrin D'an. But we'd get him in an interesting way. We wouldn't get him on card in the store like every other figure. We'd have him as a fan club exclusive. And you could buy one figure, but if you bought one figure, he came with 5 instruments. So, in essence, myself, like I'm sure many other collectors, purchased 5 of this figure to get one person holding each instrument. There was always a dispute as to how many Cantina aliens there were in the Cantina, and it turns out years later we thought there were 6, and StarWars.com confirms that there's actually 7. So there's actually 7 members, and hopefully at some point we're going to get more instruments to correspond with every single one that's in there and display them. So one thing that's great about the Cantina Band member, Figrin D'an, and the model nodes is that, of course, they're almost like army builders. You have to have everybody to display your Cantina. You can't just have one of them. And the fact that they come with the instruments, you don't have to look for different ones. You can keep rebuying the same one. And that was the case with that one that came in 97. I, however, sold mine because I got a better version of them a few years later. And we're going to talk about that one next. So we'd have to wait an additional 10 years. But in 2007, with the 30th anniversary collection, Hasbro made these commemorative tins with figures in them. So these metal tins, and you had them with figures packaged on there in separate special card backs. And the Cantina Band was one of them. And it was basically a re-release of that 1997 set, but this time with cloth goods instead of the plastic robe that he was wearing, what made him look, very large and was hard to display with. So the cloth goods, of course, made it a much better look to the character, and the paint job was slightly adjusted as well. He had a little more weathering on him, a little more realistic paint job, but it was the same figure we released. So let's have a look at him here. So I have all 5 of them. So he came in a 5-pack. This is one of them here with the instruments, and you can see that he's holding his instrument distinctly. He does have some articulation, okay, on the elbows. So he was basically one of the very first, if not the first, Power of the Force 2 figure that had articulated elbows. Now, we did have Hoth Luke that had the articulated knees, but here we go, articulated elbows as well in 1997. So this is the re-release, of course, with the cloth goods on here. We're going to look at them in detail, but I just want to show you each one of them with their instrument in hand. I'm not going to tell you that I'm that good to know all the names of the instruments, but nonetheless, I'm going to show you all of them. So here's another one. This one, I believe, is Figrin D'an because he's normally in photos with that big, almost clarinet, saxophone-like instrument. So he's holding that one. You can see that they're painted. So the original ones were just a bland color. And now with the 30th anniversary set, they painted them. They look a lot more realistic, look a lot better as well with the cloth goods. And then let's move up here. There's another one. Again, some of the instruments look similar, but indeed they are indeed different. But you can only put together 5 of them. So that's another one there. Let's look at the middle guy here. This is like a smaller clarinet slash flute that he's holding. You can see they're all painted nicely. There's a nice little gold tip here on the bottom. And mine, I never took it out of his hand. Mine still has the elastics holding that in place there as well, so I don't lose it. And then the last one will be this guy over here. Look, playing an instrument that's kind of like a blowhorn. So he's blowing into that and then moving it around like an accordion. So that one again is repainted, and the original one was just a bland bronze color. We'll take that instrument out of his hand, and then we're going to show you what the articulation looks on this guy, so you can see this thing's nicely painted and detailed all the way around. And now here is our Cantina Band member. Articulation wise, standard stuff. Again, it's exactly the same sculpt as the one that came out in '97, except that he doesn't have that plastic robe. They put cloth goods on him. And if you took this off, he just has a black vest on top of there that goes along with his shirt. Almost looks like a black leather jacket. So you can turn his head side to side. And we bring him up close just so we can look at his nice head sculpt there. These Cantina Band members are a alien species called Bith. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. But again, I love all these different alien species that George Lucas introduced. And of course, they're very distinct. And it'd be nice to see them again in the galaxy, maybe as a Jedi or as a bounty hunter or something like that. It's a really cool species. And then, of course, articulation at the arms. They just go up and down. Okay, but there is articulation there at the elbow, so you can bend that up and down to hold his instrument, which is a necessary feature to have. He does move slightly at the wrist. I'm not sure if he's intended to. It feels like he's going to break if I try and turn it, so I'm not going to. And then at the waist over here, side to side, again, that standard Power of the Force 2 stuff. And then, of course, on the legs, all you can do is move them up and down. There's no articulation at the ankles or at the knees. And that way you can't really have one that's sitting down, which in the Cantina Band in the movie we saw there was one sitting down as well. So that's what he looks like from the front. And we're going to turn him up here to see that he's got foot pegs underneath. And it does say 1997 Lucasfilm Limited. And the other side here it says Kenner, China. And that's what he looks like from the side. And then that's what he looks like from the back with his nice robe on there, cloth goods. And that's our Cantina Band member that we got in '97 and in 2007 as part of that commemorative set. So we're also going to mention that in 2007 as well, there was another 30th anniversary single carded release of Figrin D'an and his model nodes, and they were all one figure per, and they came with a stand that played musical sounds and had a little light up effect. We'll throw a picture up there. It's basically the same figure that you see over here. There was one in each package that came with a stand that had each instrument, so you could pick up one each separately. It was a Disney Parks exclusive. They had Disney weekends in Disney World and Disneyland, and you were able to pick that guy up and then display them. And the display stand was actually pretty neat. I never picked one up because I had this set, but that was another set with Figrin D'an that's worth mentioning in the model nodes. And then, of course, we wouldn't get another Figrin D'an. And one thing to mention about this character, because he plays musical instruments, he's not very desirable on store shelves. So I think it was smart to have him as a fan club exclusive when they first released him in Power of the Force 2. Because when they re-released him on the commemorative tin, I remember it peg warming at Walmart. I remember them, initially going for $30 back in 2007, and then seeing them clearanced out at at $10, and seeing them just sit there for ages and ages and ages. And I remember contemplating getting two sets, and then at the time I didn't have space, so I just stuck with the one. But I did buy mine at full price because when they came out, I was ecstatic to have them, a better version of the model nodes than I initially had, especially with the Cantina playset, the cardboard one that Hasbro released. So we wouldn't see another Figrin D'an. I won't say he's the most desirable figure, but again, it wouldn't be right not to have him on vintage card. So our prayers were answered. Hasbro announced that he was coming up in 2022, and then he was released in 2022 on the Vintage Collection card back, and that's him over here. Let's bring that card back up, see we don't knock anything over. So there he is, and he looks amazing on a Star Wars card back. They picked an amazing picture of Figrin D'an as well. He does come with 3 instruments you can see inside here, so you can buy one of these guys and you can put 3 band members together. I don't know why it doesn't come with the other ones. I'm going to assume and cross my fingers that there's going to be a deluxe set or another single release with another one of the band members. So that's Figrin D'an. That's what he looks like on the card back. And again, it looks natural. It looks like he came out on this card back in 1977/78. But no, he's never come out. There he is for the first time. And he fits right into the collection. And I love the green color in the back. It just makes it pop on that card back. So there's the Kenner logo down here. Nice name pill there with Figrin D'an. Let's turn it around to the back. Have a look. You see his VC number 249. There's some other figures that were available, of course, in the set there too. You can see that you're able to purchase. And Figrin D'an, of course, is an amazing figure. We're going to look at him loose as well. So that's him on card. And here he is, free of the plastic. So one thing we'll notice right away with the characters, they are now super articulated. So Vintage Collection has, you know, upped their ante and made definitive versions of characters, and I don't think it's going to get better with Figrin D'an than what we see over here. We're going to have a nice close look at him. So let's have a nice close look at that head sculpt. Just so you can see, it's got the nice weathering with the darker flesh color in the grooves and around his eyes and around his mouth. And he's got the nice black shiny eyes. He stands out there. The head is on a ball, so you can turn him around fully. You can see that. So you can have him playing the instruments. You can have him looking up. You can have him looking down. It does pop off pretty easily there when you try to turn it down, but move it down, but nonetheless it's there. It does have some articulation. And then, of course, side to side. Instrument-wise, I'll just take that out of his hand momentarily to have a look. You can see that it's painted nicely as well. It does come with the other two instruments there, basically just a bronze color. The longer one does have like a separate paint job on it as well. I'm just going to show you this one over here. So that is his long saxophone / clarinet. So let's look at his articulation on the figure itself. So we can see here at the shoulder, he does have swivel. You can turn that side to side, up and down. He's got a ball in there, so you can move that up. Same thing at the elbows there. You can bend them fully there. And then, of course, at the wrist, you can turn his hand side to side. And you can see there is some articulation there to move that hand down a bit as well, depending on how you're holding the instrument. I'm not going to try and force it right now, but he does have articulation there at the wrist as well, not just side to side. So at the waist over here, he turns right under the chest piece here, so you can go side to side, back and forth. Again, they've outdone themselves over here. They've made a perfect figure that you can display and have him in a dynamic pose with his instrument, and have them all standing a little bit more unique than the other one is. And that's amazing. Kudos to Hasbro. It's not going to get better than this. If we work our way down, we'll notice that the legs are also on balls there too, so you can move them up. There is a slit there at the thigh. It's almost like a small version of a Black Series figure. They've come a long way with these guys. And then, of course, at the knee, you can bend them there. And then at the ankle here as well, you got some articulation. You don't have rocker ankles. You probably don't need it for this guy, but if you're doing it with every other character, why omit it? So that's what I'm going to leave it at. We're getting a little bit spoiled, but why take away something when you're able to display the other ones? And I can maybe stick him with a lightsaber and turn mine into a Jedi if I wanted to customize him. So that's what Figrin D'an looks like from the front. Let's have a look underneath. You can see that he's got his foot pegs there. Standard stuff on these figures, and turn them to the side. That's what he looks like from the side. And let's have a look at him on the back. There he is from the back as well, with his nice creased pants and definitive, shirt there, black shirt that he's wearing. The cool Cantina Band member. So that's what we got with the Vintage Collection. That is the definitive version of Figrin D'an, and it only took 40 plus years to get him, but we have him now. We have him on a vintage card back, and we basically only had 2 sculpts to get here. So 2 sculpts prior to this, right? The original one and the one with the cloth tunic behind me there, and then we went straight to this guy in 2022. So it's not going to get better than that with a Figrin D'an figure, but we are going to talk about a few more. Okay, so I do want to talk about a few more model node characters or Bith characters. This one was another character that was released in Power of the Force 2, Figrin D'an. Figrin D'an made his debut in the Return of the Jedi Special Edition. George Lucas redid the whole musical scene that they had there, and they released some more aliens, and Figrin D'an was one of them. He's another Bith character. I initially thought it was Figrin D'an. It's not. He was released in 98. Let's have a look at him. Let's bring him forward over here. So he was in a 2-pack with Droopy McCool, and these were Walmart exclusives. And then there was another pack with Max Rebo and Sice Noodles as well. And then the other band members were released on separate cards as well. So that's what he looks like. He's basically pre-sculpted. They did this with some of the 2-packs that they did to make them a little bit cheaper. They didn't go full articulation on them. And he suffers from it. Now, he's not bulky, which is good, but he's not really desirable as an action figure other than just holding this instrument. So let's take the instrument out of his hand just to have a look. Again, this is released in 98, so that's the instrument. It's got a gold tang to it. It does have, you know, some wear and tear on it, so it looks like it's returning to its original element there with the bluish hue around there. It's rusting. Okay, so that's what he came with. And the figure himself, very, very minimal articulation. His head does turn side to side, so you do have some articulation there. Let's bring him up close. You can see that his outfit is a little bit different than the other guys. He does have a black vest on. He doesn't have the gray pants. And he does have a collar there at the very, very top that runs all the way around. You can see his little skinny neck. So the head sculpt has gotten better as well than that original one. I don't think it's the same head sculpt. It's slightly different. Let's put them side to side just to see. Yeah, the head sculpt is, if you look at it, the Figrin D'an does have a thinner head. So he's not the same character. They didn't cheap out and use the same sculpt on him. So that was nice to see. Articulation on the arms, they do just go up and down, but you can see they're fixed. And then same thing with this one here. He can either play his instrument or drink some blue milk at the cantina. He does have articulation there at the waist as well. You can turn them side to side. That was standard stuff there. So you can look at his band members and play sideways if you wanted him to. And then, of course, his legs move up and down. And that's what he looks like from the front. And if we turn him underneath, that's what he looks like underneath there. And it does say 1998 Lucasfilm Limited, Kenner, China. Okay, and then from the side, there we go. And then from the back, that's what we get for Figrin D'an. So that was in the Walmart 2-pack, and that's the only other Bith alien that we have that was released in 3 3/4 inch form. So we do want to mention our Black Series version as well. This also came out in 2022. It kind of coincides with that 3 3/4 inch one. He's released as part of the Black Series, and that's this guy over here, Figrin D'an. I can see he's got his instrument there, and he's playing it as well. He's fully articulated. He's basically a giant version of that 3 3/4 inch one that we have, which is awesome. And they've kind of gone on this trend where if they're making a Black Series version first, we end up getting a 3 3/4 inch vintage collection version after of the characters, and then vice versa as well. In this case, they basically came out at the same time. So here's Figrin D'an. Let's take his instrument out here to have a quick look. So he does come with a large clarinet slash saxophone type instrument. Not much on regards to paint job. It does have a little bit of silver detail on here on top of the grayish brownish color. It does turn side to side articulation wise. I'm not sure if it pops off. Yeah, so it does come apart. I don't think that that's 2 instruments. I think that's 1 instrument, but they gave it some articulation so that you can turn that and position it in his mouth if you can't get it properly the other way, which is a nice little feature to have because he's a larger figure than that 3 3/4 inch one, right? So nice detail on there. Let's look at the figure himself. So here he is in action figure form. You can add him to your Black Series collection, or you can add him to your Black Series and vintage collection. Both of them. And heads on a ball, turns side to side. Now there is movement here on the bottom. It's got 2-piece articulation there, and of course on the top there as well. So that's how much it goes back. That's how much it goes forward. And then you got a little bit side to side if you wanted him to do some head bopping as well. Okay. As far as articulation here at the shoulders, he does have a ball there at the shoulder, so you can move that up, down, side to side. That's how much it goes up. It's kind of restricted by his shoulder there, the vest on his shoulder. He does have articulation there at the elbow as well. You can bend him there, and then of course at the wrist. And then of course the wrist does move back and forth. So you can have him in a few different poses holding his instrument. As far as articulation here at the waist, same as the 3 3/4 inch one, he has it at the chest here, where you can go, you know, side to side, back and forth, that much back, that much forward, okay, on the character. And then down here, of course, he does have balls at the thighs there. Okay, and then he's got a slot there. You can turn his thigh side to side, articulation wise, and of course at the knee. That's what you get at the knee. You don't have much movement there, but it does give you enough back and forth. He's not going to do much other than sitting, so that's what your character is going to do, your model node. And then of course here at the bottom he does have articulation at the ankle. They go back and forth, and they are rocker ankles, so you can do that with this guy, which you can't do with the 3 3/4 inch one, which is interesting because I don't know why they'd omit that, but they did. We're a little bit spoiled. That's what he looks like from the front, the Black Series one. That's what he looks like underneath, and then from the side, okay, and then that's what he looks like from the back as well. So standard stuff here with the Cantina Band member. I'm just going to quickly show you his packaging as well. So he came, of course, in his Black Series packaging here. You can see he does have 2 other instruments in here, just like the 3 3/4 inch one did. So you can put 3 band members together if you buy 3 of these guys. Okay, and then there's a picture of him on the side there, and then of course on the back, little description bio. Now Hasbro is releasing, or they may have released already, I haven't seen him yet, a deluxe version of this character, and he's actually got a different name, Nalan Cheel, I believe it is. I'll throw a picture up. He's also coming with additional instruments, so you can basically put the whole band together. And now you're not going to buy 3 deluxe sets to put the band, or 4 deluxe sets to put the band members together. You might as well buy all the rest of them on here, 6 here, then 1 from that one there, and hopefully you can put all 7 together if that is what you like to do. But that is our Cantina Alien set of the model nodes. I hope you enjoy this review. Again, it's my pleasure to do them. I look forward to doing more, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and see you on the next video. Take care.